This is the highway to 10K, a challenge where I try to make $10,000 online as fast as possible. This challenge is taking a little longer than I expected. As a recap, we are currently at the 5-month mark and we are making well over $1,000 in profit per month. I can understand how some people would come to the conclusion that that is really bad because you can legitimately get a part-time job and make even more than that. Sure, I'm not disputing that. Here's the thing though. Nowadays, I only spend about 3 to 4 hours a week reselling. A lot of people might find that surprising, especially those who have bought it in the past. I will explain my process a little bit later and truly break it down, but overall, it's straightforward, simple, it's a lot of fun, and I do everything from the comfort of my home. Just to prevent any confusion, just want to clarify that whenever I say reselling, I'm referring to all of these categories that's offered in our reselling group. So that includes botting, and I'll take a deep dive into botting a little bit later on. The premise for most of these is more or less the same. You buy stuff and then you sell it for more than you paid for. And we sometimes use bots to assist in that process. If you're new to reselling, you do have to spend a somewhat considerable amount of time learning a lot. But if you dedicate yourself, you put in the work, after experiencing about 3 to 4 releases, which can be achieved in 2 or so weeks, this isn't difficult or time consuming at all. By the way, this is contingent on you being part of a group that will properly give you the necessary training and information to succeed. And here's where a lot of the misconception comes in. Towards the beginning of 2022 and within 2023, the botting and sneaker industry was going through a radical change. Back then, it was very common to spend literally thousands of dollars a month on a botting setup. And some people even spent thousands of dollars per release, and there were releases like 3 to 4 times a week, and for every drop it could take anywhere between 8 to 12 hours just to set up, making sure every single setting is perfect, all of your third-party tools are ready to go, your resources are well diversified, and during the actual drop itself, that could take hours and hours. It was a process, to say the least. There were thousands of dollars on the line, and if you didn't hit, you lose it all. But what made it so addicting is that for most drops, there was always a chance that you could hit the jackpot. And that part of it was what made sneaker botting so toxic. You could make the argument that sneaker botting was no different from gambling. Gambling with a lot of work. The amount of hours that you could sink into this was truly no different from a part-time job. Eventually, profitable sneaker releases became less and less frequent, but the botting costs for many remained the same. So most participants started to lose money, and that's what caused the big exodus of the botting scene, where people were quitting in droves. Understandably so. Why would they spend so much time and effort just to lose money? I feel that explains most of the misconceptions as to why some people who may have botted in the past might think that I'm still putting in these crazy hours and think that I'm still risking thousands of dollars or that I'm stressing out like crazy, but nah. I still do put in crazy hours, just not for reselling. I dedicate most of my time making videos like these and helping out with polar chefs. I don't mean to throw shade at anyone, but I do believe there were a lot of people who were just unwilling to adapt to the times, because adapting would mean checking out less shoes on purpose. If you want to get the most amount of checkouts as possible, historically you would want to diversify your bots, your proxies, your Gmails, your task modes, your payment methods, and this can get crazy expensive and take a lot of time to set up, especially for how many websites used to drop at the time. However, as profitable sneaker drops became less and less frequent, the smart move would to instead just use 1 or 2 bots that supports lots of websites and stick with a few providers that work well. Or dare I say, don't bot at all. It isn't a mandatory requirement for you to become a successful reseller. Consequently, the number of checkouts that you get will go down, but so will your expenses and so will the amount of time that you spend setting stuff up. And hey, if one day you want to go extra hard for an important release, then renting is always an option. Bot rentals are just $5 a day nowadays. To summarize, try to make the most out of just a little. By the way, these suggestions do not apply to slot runners. They're playing a totally different game from the average Joe who decides to bot. Another thing that a lot of people didn't want to do is pivoting towards reselling other items that weren't sneakers. When you sell other collectibles like Funkos, vinyls, or Stanley tumblers, the process is more or less the same. In fact, sneaker bots normally support Shopify, so you typically will have the option to bot these as well. So the only difference is that you're selling something that isn't a shoe. That being said, let's explore the main question of, is sneaker botting still worth it? No. You can't expect to profit on a consistent basis if you only go for sneakers. Sure, you have the opportunity to win big a few times a month, but it's not ideal. Back then, people were able to get away with this, but if you bot, you should go for other releases that your bot supports, and other releases that may have nothing to do with your bots as well. Let me put it this way. If you're doing this, you should have the mindset that you are a reseller first and the botter second. You are not a swordsman. You are a warrior that can wield a sword. If you're a reseller, then the bot should be just treated as a weapon in your arsenal, ready to use when the opportunity presents itself. So how do I manage to spend so little time reselling? Well, let's break it down. For releases, it takes me only about 3 to 5 minutes to set up. That's because most of the releases only drop on 1 or 2 websites. On the screen right now is an example of how I would set up for a Shopify drop and how I would set up for a Nike drop. And the drops themselves only take between 5 to 15 minutes. Many times, mostly during shock drops, a setup isn't even required. You just go to the ping on Discord, check out whatever it is they ask you to check out, and that's it. Would take less than 3 minutes. When an item comes in and I have to unbox stuff, maybe 30 seconds for each package, the most time-consuming thing out of all of this is probably listing items. But even that isn't super time-consuming, since on eBay and most other online marketplaces, they have a sell something similar option that removes a lot of the time that you would normally spend filling out the different specifications and stuff in the listing. Now, if you sell on apps like StockX, Goat, or if you just ship out your inventory to consignment, then you don't even have to worry about any of that stuff. For fulfilling orders, maybe 3 to 5 minutes per item, I just typically use the same box that they came in from, print out the shipping label, and drop it off at reception downstairs. My building has regular pickup, so I don't even have to go to a UPS store or a post office. Literally just go downstairs and drop it off. Now, if you don't have that option, you can get your packages picked up for free via FedEx or USPS. However, UPS, they do charge you for pickups, but it would be worth it if you have a lot of packages. That's it. Simple. There can be some weeks where I spend a little bit more or a little bit less than this range. However, I like to stick with activities that aren't too demanding of my time. Keep in mind, I've been botting and reselling for a long enough time, so again, if you're starting out, you shouldn't have this expectation. You shouldn't be just trying to do everything as fast as possible because we're not doing a speedrun challenge, right? The goal is to understand how everything works first, do everything properly, and then you will get the hang of things and eventually you'll get faster as you go. It's not all flowers and rainbows. It's important to also talk about the downsides. First is success is not guaranteed. Secondly, this is just all my personal experience. There's many resellers out there that take this way more seriously than me. Maybe they spend several more hours than me, and consequently, yes, they would make way more money reselling than me. And of course, there's going to be others who are even more casual than me. But if you do not have access to a smartphone or computer throughout the day, then this will be a little bit more challenging. You're not necessarily reselling the entire day, but just having that access helps immensely. Unfortunately, for the most part, this isn't really a side hustle where you can just set your own hours. If a drop is happening tomorrow at 10 a.m., then you better have access to a phone or a computer at 10 a.m. Sure, the drop could only take 5 minutes, but not having that access, it's going to be pretty tough. If you're working a job that makes it impossible for you to get that 5 minutes of access on the device, then you're going to miss out. As a result, once you get home, you might have to work even harder just to make up for it. Many groups do offer free auto checkout service. However, in my opinion, auto checkout shouldn't be something that you should rely upon. It's more of like a supplemental thing to your income. Also, not having easy access to your phone or a computer, it makes going for shock drops almost impossible. Many times when it comes to price glitches and price errors, and sometimes even sneakers, shock drops are insanely lucrative. And it is a huge part of the side hustle. It could take less than a minute to go for these drops, but not having access to a device, not being able to participate at all will prove to be challenging. Now, don't get the wrong idea. You don't actually have to just constantly stare at Discord to be able to go for these shock drops. That's the job of the staff members. So you just have to have notifications on your phone, and when it buzzes from a ping from your cook group and it says, hey, go for this drop, it's 75% off, you can resell it. Might take like a minute or two to buy it, and that's it. One really big thing that I left out is that I'm in the US, and that might not be the case for every region. Everything that I'm saying may not even apply to you. I'm sorry. When it comes to credit card rewards farming, this is even more low effort. When you get a ping, you buy the item, it ships directly to the buyers, upload the tracking to the portal, and get paid and redeem your credit card cash back through your bank, which only takes like 10 minutes a week. And now we continue on with seeing all of everything that I just spoke about in action. Enjoy. This morning, I woke up to a few checkouts. The first couple of checkouts were from Amazon freebies. The other set of checkouts that I got literally while I was sleeping, by the way, it's technically not my checkouts, are these Owala water bottles. Haven't really heard of them before, however, they are expected to resell for a lot. I got these from Target, and Target is known to cancel orders pretty frequently, so fingers crossed, hopefully we can actually get these in. A couple of months ago, these Sora Kingdom Hearts figures started to pre-order on GameStop. However, they weren't going to ship until February 17th, but they did allow you to get 10 in a single cart, so I ended up buying 10, and as of today, they should be shipping out within a week or so. Therefore, I decided to list some pre-orders, and I already sold 2, and I also sold these Air Max Plus.
We're out on the beat.
Today we're gonna try to buy some water bottles and some posters. This water bottle company, Owala Life, seems to be popping off, so gonna be trying to get a few of these. And these posters, I think there's only gonna be like 100 stock. Being that there's so little stock, can't really go wrong, but who knows, we'll see. Processing. Got 1. Payment failed. Got 2. Got 3. Oh my god. Okay, right away, all of my poster orders got canceled, and all of my water bottle orders, they look to be okay for now. Then out of nowhere, around 3 p.m, the Denim Tears hoodies restocked. So I went ahead and copped a few black hoodies, no bot required, and hopefully I can make at least $40 to $70 for each of these. So we're going for these Crocs. Historically, these drops are a headache. These drops are very, very messy, and stock numbers are insanely low. If I cop even one, I would be incredibly happy. I'll be trying my best. Let's give it a shot. Dude, what just happened to my bot? Dude, this shit sold out instantly, son. Sold another amiibo figure, sold some shoes, and some other stuff as well. Towards the beginning of this video, I was talking about how little time it takes for me to set up and actually do all of this. However, a lot of that has changed today because tomorrow we got a big one. For this, I took probably about 2.5 hours to set up. I'm going to be bringing back PRISM, one of my go-tos for foot sites, and Finish Line JD Sports. Since I am adding this into my arsenal for tomorrow, then it's only fair to add how much this cost me during this drop. And the answer is $1. I currently have an affiliate deal with PRISM where I have a trial link where you can use this bot for $1 for 10 days. And I feel like right now is the best time to use it for one of the most important drops of the year. So I hope that me taking extra time to set everything up, I hope it all pays off. We are going to find out tomorrow. is 7. Yep. Object at diff. What? Yeah. Oh, I caught. Submitting order. Let's go. Got another one. Okay. We take those. Bruh. Yeah, I'm gonna get a lot of cancels. There's no way these are like actually gonna ship out. None. Best case scenario, I think like 1 ships out per address. Yeah, I'm getting cancel emails already. Bro, I can't believe I flopped on Shopify. There's just no shot.
It's crazy.
Oh, hit on Nike. A couple of pairs so far. Ooh, 3. Just check out. Just let it happen. Come on. You too. Just set the data dome. Oh, let's go. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yo, I high-key did pretty bad. Like, a lot worse than I expected. All of these crazy checkout numbers between Finish Line and JD Sports, I am like 90% sure only 1 is gonna ship out, even though I use like unique addresses and everything. I think that is it, guys. Okay, that was pretty bad. I got complacent with starting my Shopify tasks on time properly. I kind of relied a little bit too much on NSB's queue monitoring feature. So as a result, I failed really hard on Shopify. It was 100% my fault. I almost forgot how competitive that platform can be on shoes that people actually want. Anyways, as you can see, I did run a few other servers. It would have cost me $15 to deploy them via AWS during the drop. And I also used Wolf's proxy so I can run more tasks. So I gotta go ahead and factor that into my profit. However, to help offset that, I did do some credit card rewards farming, so I actually made a little bit of money today. Yesterday, I got a bunch of sales, tumblers, the water bottles from the beginning of this episode, and a bunch of sneakers.
Wrong way, bring it back.
And today we're going for some collectible items. These are pins from James Jean, who is a Taiwanese artist. These are only going to be limited to 500, so it's going to be very, very difficult to get these. But of course, we're definitely going to give it a try. Let's see if I'm able to get these on the next episode.